Family, how y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Hey, I got some real good stuff to talk about today. Y'all see, I've been jotting down in my notebook. I got my pen. Make sure you got your pen. Make sure you got your pad. We finna get it in. Yes, yes. Blessings, family. I had an amazing time in Detroit. Man, it was amazing. Everybody came, showed out. People came. We got a bunch of healing testimonies from people healing a heart disease. We had some herpes testimonies up in there. It was a bunch of testimonies. I'm gonna post a recap probably tomorrow, the next day. But it's amazing, y'all. Y'all climb on in. Make sure y'all got y'all pens and y'all pads. From the last live that I did, everybody was like, "Well, you went through all the detoxification organs, but could you particularly talk about the gut?" So I'm calling this a total gut reset. You know, how to heal your entire body from the inside out by truly focusing on the digestive system. So y'all climb on in. We finna get it in. Make sure you got your pen and your pad. Let me know if y'all on my Facebook. Let me know if you're coming in from my new YouTube channel, from my Facebook fan page, and from Instagram. Y'all let me know. Peace, peace, family. Hey, we finna get it in. Blessings to y'all. Let me see my comments real quick. All right, I see everybody climbing on in. If you can hear me and if you can see me good, let me know. Make sure that you got your pen and your pad. When you got your pen and you got your pad, say I got my pen and pad, and then we're going to start. We got a little bit to go through, all right? So we're going to talk about healing, gut health, total body reset. I've been doing this for about 15 years. And when I first started off, I used to really dive deep on how your gut was your first brain and not your second brain, and how inside your gut you have more melanin neurotransmitters than you truly have in your brain. And your gut is in communication with your whole body. Your brain is not in communication with your whole body. And how your brain is called the central nervous system, but your gut is called the intrinsic nervous system, or the enteric nervous system, or what you will call the autonomic nervous system. And the gut is truly controlled by its own melanin neurotransmitters and adrenal glands. And you know, all the food that you essentially eat to get your phytonutrients from is all by your gut. So if we focus on digestion and we really dive deep, I'm gonna show y'all how to fix a few things. Well, fix all these things to truly heal the body. I teach y'all and I tell y'all all the time that there's only two things that causes a major detoxification symptom that we will call disease, or have been taught to call disease, and that's toxicity and deficiency. So we're going to merge toxicity and deficiency together today, and talk about the gut. So if y'all ready, type in some nines and we're going to get it started. And I'm talking a little better, y'all. So I'm gonna still slow down while I'm talking. But if y'all can hear me good, you know, we cool. But if y'all hear me slurring a little bit, or if y'all hear my S's too crazy because these temps in my mouth, just let me know and I'll slow it down. All right, let's get it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the gut. Now, whenever you eat anything, family, I don't care what you put in your mouth, whenever you eat it, the whole point of eating it is to chew it and get it down the esophagus where you can get it to the stomach. The whole point of getting food into the stomach is for you can further denature it, break it down through hydrochloric acid, and get it through this 9-inch intestinal tract that we call the pyloric sphincter. Inside the pyloric sphincter is where most of your absorption happen at. Now, you do have absorption that happen in the small intestine, of course, and you have a lot of it that reabsorb through the transverse colon, which is the large colon or the large intestine, but we're going to talk about that later. Well, the whole entire point of eating is to get the nutrients from the food that you ate into the bloodstream. All so-called diseases, or all toxicity and all deficiency, starts in the gut. Whenever you are toxic, these toxins are polluting the body. And when you pollute the body, you change the body pH, and then these toxins accumulate. This accumulation causes congestion, and it keeps you from absorbing your nutrients. All right, when you talk about deficiency, most of the deficiency, whether we're talking about amino acid deficiency, carboxylic acid deficiency, whether we're talking about nutrient deficiency, macronutrients, micronutrients, mineral deficiency, any of these deficiencies always happen because you are not absorbing. Now, of course, they've been stripping these things from the soil. Of course, they've been stripping them from our food stuff. But essentially, when you eat, you're going to get something. The reason why people are not getting anything is because their guts are so inflamed, or there's mucinoid plaque, or there's parasites jumping in and eating all of these things. It's a blood circulation issue. It is something happening between your mouth and between your small intestines that's stopping the absorption factor, which is in this 9-inch duodenum tract that absorb all of your nutrients and bring it through blood capillaries and get all of these nutrients, oxygen, minerals, folic acid, anything that you need, any macro nutrients to the cells to rebuild the cells and take your cells through protein synthesis, to take your cells through oxygen for you can get ATP, go through the hydrogen oxygen parades, any type of step that I'm talking about, you need the bloodstream. So the first part that we're going to write down, now remember, this is called a gut reset. So for the title, you're going to write down gut reset, because I didn't write a title down. Gut reset. All right. Now, once you write down gut reset, the first thing we're going to focus on is poor blood circulation. Okay. So write down poor blood circulation. Since I already wrote mine down about 30 minutes ago, I'm going to put a check by mine. We have to check on poor blood circulation. Now, because, and the reason why I'm speaking about this, because remember, you have three types of things that go on in the body. The blood is what feeds the cells of the body, all of its phytonutrients, whether we're talking about macronutrients or whether we're talking about micronutrients. These nutrients are extracted from the food that you chew and masquerade on, right? And then you swallow it, and then it goes into the bloodstream if the body is working properly. So if the bloodstream is sluggish, if the blood pH is off, if the blood is clotting and clunking up, if the blood have too much calcium in it, guess what? You're not going to get absorption. All right, so we need to focus on blood circulation. And the crazy part is, blood is in your kidneys and in your gut more than and in your brain more than it's in any organ in your body, because digestion is very, very important. And again, your stomach, or what we'll call your gut, is your first, or what you will call your second brain. So if you have poor blood circulation and you're not getting the nutrients that you need, then you have to do something where you can absorb the food soon as you eat it and bypass the blood. So I'm going to show you a way that you can do it naturally and a way that you can do it through IV therapy. And that's the reason why when anybody's detoxing or anybody comes to the clinic and we need to give them nutrients right away, we automatically put them on IV therapy and give them all their minerals, their trace minerals, their macronutrients, anything they need. That way we tap directly into the bloodstream intravenously. That way they getting all of their nutrients, and we don't have to wait hours just to be disappointed, because when they eat the food, since they are so inflamed in the gut area, and since they have bad peristalsis, or they are not absorbing because they don't have a diverse portfolio inside of their intestines, then they're not going to get the food anyway. So what we have figured out is you can do intravenous IV therapy and get your nutrients that way, or you can literally juice your vegetables and juice your fruits, and then you'll go through something called the buccal mucosa absorption factor, where the buccal mucosa is basically between your teeth and your cheeks, where you can absorb and extract your nutrients if you juice. You got to juice your fruits and your vegetables, and all you got to do is when you drink, just sit these juices inside of your mouth for at least 60 seconds before you swallow it. And guess what? It goes through something called the buccal mucosa absorption factor, where it'll go straight into the bloodstream. This is direct absorption, and you don't even have to wait till it gets through the esophagus, hit the stomach, mix with hydrochloric acid and goblet mucus cells to make what you will call chyme, to wrap it up and break it down more. You don't even have to go through all of these. You can get your first absorption in your mouth. But the thing about it is hard to absorb any type of phytonutrients to the mouth if you have candida, biofilms and yeast and all types of mold and bacteria covering your mouth. So anybody that's healing and anybody that want to reset the gut, the first place you have to start at is in the mouth, and you need to make sure that you keep in very, very good oral hygiene. So blood circulation literally starts with that. And that's the reason why they use the buccal system when they give you medicine. You know, think about the drops you take when they give you medicine. They are targeted to get you fast, rapid absorption. So they put certain things inside of the pharmaceutical drugs that they give you for it can go straight to the bloodstream. But they didn't make up this system. The body already had this system for tens of thousands of years already in your mouth, and you will figure that out when you're juicing your fruits and your vegetables, your melons, and things like that. It can go straight through the bloodstream in the mouth, and you don't even have to swallow it yet. So anybody that's trying to do a gut reset, anybody that's trying to heal their body, always incorporate juices. Now, depending on what type of detoxification symptom you have, I'm not going to say disease because I don't believe in disease, then that depends on what type of juices you will be actually drinking, whether you be drinking fruit juices or vegetable juice. Anybody with fatty liver disease, I would tell you to stay away from your fruit juices and partake in dark leafy green vegetable juice or watery vegetable juice, things like that. If you don't have fatty liver disease, if your liver enzymes, your ASTs and your ASTs is normal, then look, hey, go hard on a fruit juice diet. And that's going to start the initial absorption of all the phytonutrients that you need in the mouth before we even get down the esophagus, before we even hit the stomach. So anybody that got any gut issues, or say somebody got pancreatic cancer or somebody got stomach cancer and they just have a hard time absorbing anything through the duodenum because their bowels are obstructed, I'm going to put you on a juice fast, a fruit juice fast and a vegetable juice fast, because I know that you get direct buccal absorption through the buccal mucosa factor in your cheeks and up under your tongue. And that's the reason why I like herbs like tinctures, because you can take these tinctures and you can put them right under the tongue, especially if you mix them and you extract it through some type of alcohol solvent, and it will immediately go into the bloodstream and begin its work immediately. But if And I think you should couple them. I think you should do that. Plus, I think you should mix the IV therapy together. So do the IV therapy. Make sure that you're not getting the synthetic IV therapy. Get the derivatives that come from whole food sources and extrapolate all of your phytonutrients from there intravenously. Plus, go on a juice fast. And you will see that even though your stomach is inflamed, even though you got mucinoid plaque inside of your gut, and even though you're not bringing in the goodies through the digestive tract, you still are getting direct absorption through the mouth. If y'all got that so far, type in some nines. Yes, see, anybody had a tummy tuck, anybody had any issues with the gut, and you just trying to do a gut reset, this is the first thing. So we're talking about poor blood circulation, because with poor blood circulation, you're not going to get the phytonutrients you need. Now I'm going to show you how to move your blood. Burdock root will cleanse your blood out. It will cleanse your blood out. Yellow dock will cleanse your blood out. You know, chaparral will cleanse your blood out. Bloodroot will cleanse your blood out. All of these things will cleanse your actual blood. But while you're cleansing your blood, there is a very, very low chance of you getting absorption in your duodenum. So until you get those venous systems open up, I'm saying get direct absorption through the buccal system by going through the buccal mucosa membranes through the mouth directly into the bloodstream. And you will do that by juicing, and just make sure don't swallow the juice fast. When the juice get in your mouth, just swish it around and hold it for you can absorb that nutrients and then swallow, and hopefully we can catch some on the back end once it goes through the stomach and go where it need to be. All right, now in red clover, and my favorite blood cleanser and blood mover by far is red clover flower tops, y'all. So write that down. Red clover flower tops. You can use the leaf as well. Okay. Make sure that you're using burdock root, greater burdock root, and leaf as well, because these things are actually good from cleansing the blood. These things are good for making blood flow. All right. That's another good one. Chaparral is amazing. Use chaparral leaf. Very, very good. Blood root. When you do blood root, make sure you're not using too much. And I wouldn't do it in a tincture form, a tincture form, because it's so potent. You can just do that in a little tea form, or you can grind it up and put it in some 500 milligram capsules and swallow them, because that's going to be a very, very slow release. Don't do 1,000 milligrams because that might be a little too much for you. All right, so that's poor blood circulation. So if you got poor blood circulation and you're not getting nutrients circulating through the blood because you can't absorb through the actual duodenum, we say use the buccal system. The buccal is spelled B-U-C-C-A-L. The buccal system. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up for y'all and I can show it to you on the screen. The buccal. buccal mucosa. So here go the buccal mucosa. I'm going to show y'all a picture of it real quick. See if I can get a good one. And notice this is where your lymph at. Everything is here, y'all. All right, let me share my screen with y'all real fast. All right, so try to move it to the middle. So look, y'all, this is the buccal mucosa. I accept the cookies. I'm trying to show y'all in the middle of the page because I know I'm on Instagram too. Where is we at? Let me just go back to the picture. The whole picture just disappeared, y'all. Where did it go? We'll blow this one up, y'all. How about that? All right, see that buccal mucosa? And when you actually look at the buccal mucosa, it shows you that the buccal system is right between the cheeks and the teeth. And in between there, you have so many capillaries that go straight inside of the bloodstream. So all you got to do is when you drink these juices, these fruit juices and these vegetable juices, is just let it sit inside the mouth for 60 seconds. I'm a very extremist when it comes to certain things like this. So I'll probably do 2 minutes and then I'll swallow. That way I can just make sure that I'm getting my phytonutrients that way. Okay. So we done talked about that. We done talked about the actual buccal system. Now let's move on. All right, so that's how you fix the poor blood circulation while you're working on the blood circulation. So cross that out. So these are the things that will stop you from absorbing all of your phytonutrients. These are the things that will stop you and make you deficient. One is poor blood circulation, because without the blood, it's impossible to move the goodies around. Then the next thing is write down gut mucus congestion. Gut mucus congestion, which 99% of the world population have it, because we have to understand that mucus is a response to acidity. So whenever you're in an acid environment, mucus is going to be produced by the mucosal membrane to come neutralize acids. That's the whole entire point of mucus, other than being a protective layer, because it's a part of something called the glycocalyx, which we're going to talk about as well. And what it does is, this snotty, sticky-like substance or gel-like structure, it catches on to antigens, it catches on to toxins, it catches on to interstitium mucosa type of parasitics, intracellular parasites. This thing catches on to those things, and then it basically engulfs it, and it transports it to the lymphatic system. And then what the lymphatic system does is the lymphatic system will take it to a lymph node, and then inside that lymph node you will have macrophages to engulf these things or go through something called phagocytosis, and it will further degrade it or degrade it down and take it to the kidneys for you can excrete it out when you wake up in the rising through your urine. So if you have a bunch of mucus, or you having a mucosa irritant or a mucosa response, it's because your body is full of acids. So the best way to get rid of that is, and take away that inflammation, is simply by going on what you would call an alkaline forming diet. There's no such thing as an alkaline diet, or there's no such thing as an acid diet. There's a such thing as an alkaline forming diet and a acid forming diet. And these are things that you can eat that basically lead back certain minerals. And when you test these minerals, it keeps the pH high. You know that? So if you see calcium, if you see magnesium, if you see selenium, if you see potassium left over in your poop after you eat your food, the food you ate was alkaline forming. But if you see phosphorus was left over and carbon dioxide and things like that, then that is acidic forming food. You ate it, and when it broke down and it went through something called methylation or DNA methylation, because anything you eat, there is no food that you eat that goes through the body and don't have a change. So anytime you eat a food, it's not just going in your body and remaining that food until it goes to the tail end or it comes out your urethra through your urine. Anytime you eat a food, the body changes the molecular structure of the food. The body changes the chemistry of the food, for the body can use it for its unique fingerprint. And that is literally called methylation. So if it goes through the methylation process, and then depending on the electrolytes and the salts and minerals that it leave behind, that's how you dictate whether that food is alkaline forming or acid forming. Other than that, food essentially is neutral until it goes inside the body. We don't care what it does outside the body. And that's what I teach people all the time, people that want to do the test. Make sure you test it in an environment that replicates the body. And in certain laboratories, they have certain furnaces and certain ovens to act like hydrochloric acid to match the temperature of your body, 98.6 degrees. And then once it's done and it leaves that alkaline ash or leaves that acidic ash, they check the minerals and be like, okay, that's in fact the alkaline forming food. So if you want to start getting rid of the mucus plaque or the mucus inside of the stomach, the first thing to do is get rid of all inflammatory foods. I wouldn't eat anything that's cooked in grease. I wouldn't eat anything that's cooked in hydrogenized oils. Matter of fact, for the first 3 months, I wouldn't even cook in oils, period. I will eat a semi-raw diet. And the reason why I'm saying semi-raw is because there's certain foods that you just have to cook just to break through the cellulose for you can be able to even absorb all the things that I'm talking about anyway. So no cooking with oils, period, point blank. All right. Try to eat your food at least 90% raw. Unless you're dealing with, certain types of vegetables like kale is a very, very tough vegetable. I will cook that down and denature it as little as possible just to break through the cellulose. That way I can get all of the calcium and get all of the macro and micronutrients out of it and the phytonutrients out of it for I can absorb it. All right. So we're talking about the mucus gut or the plaque, the mucus plaque that's building up. And the best way to do that is, again, eating alkaline forming foods and fasting. We didn't put people on so many water fasts or so many green juice fasts, especially with the Dr. Yah'ki geogenetic green juice, and give them 30 to 40 days. And guess what's coming out? A big strand of mucinoid plaque that feels like tartar built up in it, shaped like they small intestines that's been there since they probably was 10 years old because their mother and father was feeding them McDonald's, feeding them processed foods, feeding them synthetic denatured foods their whole life, and all of the fried chicken, the fried beef, ground beef, turkey, all of the holidays and traditions is very, very unhealthy. So, you look up and you're 20 and 30 years old and you're feeling all of these symptomologies of detoxification of what we have been taught is disease when it's actually not. And we don't even know it's because our actual gut have a lining that have been plaqued, and this plaque is keeping you from absorbing all of your phytonutrients by way of the duodenum, because inside of the duodenum, which is where you get your first absorption factor at in a major way, it's blocked with mucinoid plaque. And then think about this mucinoid plaque. Whenever you mix mucus with calcium and acid, it solidifies. This solidification actually solidified the microvilli as well. So imagine these little fingers I'm holding up is the microvilli, and my fingers that I'm finna cover up on them is the mucus that has solidified. So now the villi can't wave or even open up to even absorb all the nutrients and all of the vital factors that you need to rebuild your molecular structure and take you through protein synthesis and get you ATP, adenosine triphosphate, where you can live a life of full vitality and purpose, because your gut is so inflamed and then the doorways to deliver the phytonutrients into the bloodstream is blocked off by this mucinoid plaque. So the best way to get rid of a mucinoid plaque, fasting. And I'm talking about long fasting and hydration, because hydration breaks up calcification and stagnation. And how do you hydrate? Water, H3O2, juices from your fruits, juices from your vegetables. And look, last but not least, what I've been talking about, eating alkaline forming foods. Eventually, it's going to decay and break off. Same, and look, and I used to use this analogy all the time, right? If you put a sticky substance on the floor, you're not going to go sweep and mop it up without using water, correct? You're going to use some type of solvent. You're going to use some type of liquid, some type of hydration to break up the sticky substance from off the floor. You're doing the same thing with the mucinoid plaque that's actually built up inside of the intestines. You're going to take some type of hydration to break up the stagnation and calcification. If you do this for long enough and you're making sure that you're not bringing in hydrolyzed oils and things like that, because we know that oils and water truly don't mix. In our biology, it do through something called methylation, which I'll teach y'all about later. But, essentially, it doesn't mix in chemistry. So, it's going to be some type of acidic blowback there. And that acidic blowback is going to always irritate the mucosal membrane. It's going to trip the parathyroid. The parathyroid is going to go holler at the bone calcium matrix, or should I call the calcium phosphorus bone matrix. It's going calcitonin hormone is going to say, hey, I need more calcium, strip it from the bones because there's too much acid and acidity in my blood and in my gut, and I need to go neutralize these places. And then they meet and they neutralize, but you never stop eating the foods that you've been eating, or you never stop stressing out. So guess what? Calcium, mucus, acids, see that, and phosphorus meet. When that meet, it creates something like concrete. It creates something like concrete. And this is what we call calcification. Just look at the word calcium. So if you want to break up the calcification, get rid of what's causing the solidification in the first place. And that is acids, y'all. It's acids. Acid forming foods. All right. So that's how you do that. So the first one we got that's going to keep you in a deficient state is poor blood circulation. I'm telling you, and I told you how to increase blood circulation. And I told you the first step to bypass blood circulation is by going through something called the buccal system, where you juice your fruits, you juice your vegetables, you hold it in your mouth, and you make sure it gets between your teeth and your cheeks, and you can bypass the duodenum through the buccal system. And that's what I love about tinctures and teas, because that does the same exact thing. The second thing we talked about was gut mucus congestion. And basically, that is what you would call a mucinoid plaque that actually solidifies itself inside the duodenum that keeps you from absorbing. And look, since that's still happening, we still got to go with the first one and use the buccal system. But while we're using the buccal system, we're going to fast and we're going to hydrate the body, and we're going to introduce our body into movement to break up that mucinoid plaque so we can get it out. I got pictures of our clients with hangers digging this nasty stuff out of the toilet, holding it up. Some of them get 10 feet long, and it looked like rope. It looked like rope. And if you touch it, and the reason why I know if you touch it, because I passed one, and if you touch it, it feels like some type of tar. What you call that candy that you used to stretch? Laffy Taffy. It got the same consistency in its stretch like a damn Laffy Taffy, except it's black, it's brown, and it's kind of like yellowish red because it got blood, and dried blood on it, and it got bile mixed in that came in Billy Rubin or Billy Bourbon, and bile residues from it that came from the liver. And that's truly what it looked like. All right. Next, we got to talk about gut fluid calcification, because not only does the mucosa membrane can calcify due to solidification of calcification, but the fluid, the interstitial fluid in the blood that's circulating through that gut area can calcify as well. You see what I'm saying? And how did that happen? That happened because you are not feeding the body the nutrients that it needs, or it's not getting the electrolytes it needs to keep the negative charge, to keep the blood repelling from each other. So guess what the blood do inside the duodenum area? They break down, they create a substance called rouleau, then they clunk themselves together because they didn't flip polarity, they didn't flip poles because you're not bringing oxygen in, because remember, you have a deficient problem. So now you got poor blood circulation, you got gut mucosa stagnation and congestion, and now you got gut or interstitial fluid calcification built up. It's impossible to get any nutrient factors to get absorbed, and for you to even be able to utilize it, to use these food stuff to get your vitality, for you can live out your purpose in your days here on earth. See, what we're going through is a deep way. I'm talking about a very, very deep way of getting rid of that mucosa. Now, another one I want to tell you is colonics. Hydrocolonic therapy is known for getting rid of that mucosa plaque. But in order to get rid of that mucosal plaque, you're going to have to go to hydrocolonic therapy at least 3 days a week for at least a month. And you're going to have to be on an intermittent fasting schedule called the 18-6 rule, where you fast for 18 hours a day and you only eat for a 6-hour window period. Other than that, it's going to take you a very, very long time. But we notice through colonic therapy that we get rid of a lot of mucosal plaque as well. So y'all can write that down as well. Somebody asked, what about the coffee enemas? The coffee enema is more for bowel releasing and liver detoxing, which we will talk about later. Right now, I am just specifically talking about cleansing the gut, getting that gut cleansed up for when you eat your food, you can actually get all of the absorption and extract all of the phytonutrients you need for you can have vitality, good consciousness, good oxygen flow, good oxygen circulation, and good protein synthesis for you can keep the molecular structure built. All right, so we're going to run it back. Poor blood circulation stops you from absorbing. This causes a nutrient deficiency. All right, gut mucosa congestion. This stops you from blood circulating. This stops you from absorbing. This causes what? A nutrient deficiency. Gut interstitium calcification of the fluids causes what? Blood poor circulation, and you're not going to get any nutrients, cause a nutrient deficiency. Another one is stagnated lymph. If you look at my lymphatic models, which I will go get one, most of the lymph nodes are in the gut area. And the reason why is because when you are born with something called a primitive gut tube. And let me just show y'all this for y'all don't think I'm lying. And I used to teach classes on this all the time. Let me show y'all this real quick. Primitive gut tube. Man, I did amazing. And when I say amazing, I did an amazing presentation on this in 2014 in Las Vegas, y'all. Talking about the embryology, the endoderm, the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and talking about the primitive gut tube and how the lymphatic system, how all of your organs, all of your limbs, even your brain come from the gut. Everything starts off as the gut. But this is the primitive gut tube. Let me share my screen with y'all. So this is the primitive gut tube. When you actually look at it, please don't go off somewhere far. Show me the picture. I'm gonna just blow it up. Make sure it's in the screen. All right, that'll work. So when you look at the primitive gut tube, hold on, I need to move it over a little bit more, y'all. Yeah, I'm trying to let them see on Instagram too. So it's kind of work. It's kind of crazy. Let me move it over a little bit more. All right. So when you look at the primitive gut tube, notice what comes from it. The celiac arteries, the dorsal, look, mesoderm, endoderm, ectoderm, your ears, your elbows, even your genital areas all come from this primitive gut tube. So when you look at the lining of the gut, when a woman is going through gestation and we see that the embryo is actually being manifested into the physicality of her womb, the first thing she grows is something called the primitive gut tube. And then from that primitive gut tube, you will see all limbs come from it. The elbows come tucked out from it. And notice that the elbows are tucked towards the genitals when they grow out the primitive gut tube. Then you see the head get released from it. Then you see all of the vessels get made. You'll see it grows its placenta, the nervous system, and all of the organs come from the primitive gut tube. So essentially everything that is on you is attached to your gut. And that's why most people that have herpes have itchy elbow disease as well. They get bumps and breakouts on their elbows because remember, your elbows is an extension of your genitals because they're made from the same skin. Just like if we're talking about the ectoderm. Your skin and your eyes and your nervous system is made of the same exact ectoderm cells and embryology as your brain. And that's the reason why your hair is an extension of your nervous system, and your hair and your skin literally scans the external environment and bring in these signals and fold proteins and tell you whether to take flight or fight. Like, this is real scientific stuff. This is not dogma. This is not me up here just making up stuff. If you do deep studies and research, it shows you that everything starts from the gut. life actually starts from the gut, at least the physical life, because all life come from the primitive gut tube, and it's made of 3 blastose cells: the ectoderm, the endoderm, and the mesoderm, made from one tube called the gut, that end up becoming your intestines, and your intestines, your small intestines and your large intestines, and everything else grow from there. So essentially, with me saying that, the purpose of me saying that is, if you heal the gut, guess what you heal, Nabi? The entire body, the whole body, because everything comes from it. And look, just to show y'all, let me show y'all another picture, just to show y'all. Look, it's gonna blow y'all mind. Look, so check this out. Let me show y'all again. How can I do it? Now look at that. Look at that, y'all. So, can they hear me?
Yeah, let me see. I got my volume.
Can y'all hear me, family? Type in some 9s if y'all can hear me. Look, it's gonna blow y'all mind. Okay, perfect. So look, check this out. You have gotten small. No, I have gotten healthy, family. We gotta change our word. So look, the foregut of the primitive gut tube, the trachea, the respiratory tract come from it, the lungs, the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, the bile ducts, the pancreas, the dorsal. You see all of this? The upper duodenum. All of this come from the primitive gut tube. Now look on the other side. The other side, the lower duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum, the cecum, the appendix, the ascending colon. All of these things come from the primitive gut tube. Every organ in your body come from the primitive gut tube. So if you want to heal a system, the first place you have to start at is, in fact, what, y'all? The gut. I mean, that's just what it is. It ain't no way around that, family. Ain't no way around that. So now let's talk about stagnated lymph. And I want to get something for y'all to show y'all all of these lymph nodes inside the actual gut. Now, I want y'all to look at this gut area. I'm going to point at it, then I'm going to lift my mic back up. It's right here. This is the gut area. Notice all of the lymph nodes. The Peyer's patches exist here. The ileum lymph nodes exist here. You see that? The cisterna cali, the biggest lymph node other than the gland, the thymus gland, lives in this area. You see that? You have thousands of lymph nodes that live in the gut. So essentially, the beginning and the bulk of what you would call your immune system is in where, y'all? The gut. So if you want to heal and cleanse the immune system, if you want to make sure that the lymphatic system is working properly, getting rid of toxins, because remember, the blood is what feeds the cells of the body. Remember, the nervous system is what commands and communicates with the cells of the body. But the lymphatic system is the sewage system. It's what cleanses the cells of the body by way of detoxification pathways. Then you have to cleanse the gut, because 90% of your so-called immune system, or what I'm going to correctly call the lymphatic defense system, is where, Nabi? The gut. These are facts. These are facts. Just facts, y'all. Somebody just said prove it. We can look this up too. This is going to be on Yah'ki TV, y'all. This is going to be on Yah'ki TV. Look, I'm going to prove all things, but I always prove all things. I don't know why y'all challenging me, but I love it. Hey, it is what it is. I ain't mad at y'all. I taught y'all to be that way. So let's just do it like this. 90% of the immune system is in the gut. Here we go. Look, check this out. This just quick. This says 70 to 80, but when you get deep into the studies, it's 90. But look, just look this up, y'all. Here we go. Let me change my screen. Let me move it over for y'all. Can you see that, Nabi? Can they see it? I'm gonna have to figure this damn.
You know, we're a little lag behind you. Hold on.
All right, there it go. So it showed you right here, 70 to 80% of the immune cells being present in the gut, y'all. It's in the gut. In the gut. So if you want to heal, and if you want to regulate your immune system, your T cells, your B cells, your neutrophils, your phagocytes, your lymphocytes, your monocytes, you're going to have to heal what, y'all? The gut. All right, I'm glad we got that down. So, stagnated lymph. In order to move stagnated lymph, the best thing to do, if you look at the cisterna cali or the cisterna calil, it sits right on what you would call the diaphragmatic muscle. The diaphragmatic muscle is attached to something called the mesentery muscle. The mesentery muscle is what your gut holds on to, which I will show y'all what this look like. I'm going to show you how just through deep breathing exercise, you can move your lymph tonight. I'm going to show you through patting, through jump roping, through rebounding, through trampolining, through movement, just like efficient, correct walking. Just by walking 3 miles a day correctly will move your lymphatic system in your gut. Point blank, period. But let me show you. Here go to gut. All right, here go to. All right, y'all. So check this out. When you're looking at the gut, I'm going to take off the large intestine, which is right here. I'm going to take off the small intestines, or what you would call the jejunum or the ileum, which is right here. And behind it, you're going to see a ripple of muscles. These ripple of muscles is called the mesenteric muscle wall. It's nothing but fascia. This fascia is a communication network that's made by piezoelectricity, which is very, very important. I talk about it in my book, Healing an Illusion We Call Disease. If you can strengthen this will help you with your breathing. It'll help you with the diaphragmatic contractions. It will help you with everything, but it will also help you move your lymphatic system, because that's what the sternocali is connected to. Now watch this. Oh, this one, I got the wrong model, y'all. Hold on. This one don't do it.